Here's the thing, nobody really understood when this story first broke out. You completely missed the genuine raw emotion, the pure frustration pouring from his voice when he revealed the UFC's demand for Tom Aspinall to vacate his belt until recovery was complete. On the surface, this appears like standard corporate protocol, business as usual. But if you actually listen to his exact words, really absorb what he's saying, he made it absolutely transparent that vacating the title was something he'd consider doing. However, here's the critical twist, only if they satisfied his specific demands. That conditional element, that single qualifying statement, is where this entire situation becomes incredibly intricate and exposes far more than just basic championship negotiations.
It's so weird. Heavyweight division, heavyweight boxing, baddest man on the planet, just the scariest division known to man. And yeah, it's been weird the last few years. Like the heavyweight division's just kind of been not super exciting, not super interesting.
This goes way beyond a simple belt vacation, and you need to grasp that reality immediately. What's unfolding before us is a masterclass in strategic maneuvering, an emotionally charged confrontation that brutally exposes the dark mechanics of professional fighting in ways we seldom witness. The truth finally emerged from the shadows. The UFC ordered Tom Aspinall to relinquish his championship. That's the corporate narrative, the sanitized business explanation. But what remained hidden, what they desperately hope you won't fully comprehend or analyze deeply, is the devastating response that came directly from Aspinall himself. His counter-proposal was absolutely bone-chilling when you examine it closely. He declared he'd vacate willingly, but exclusively, if they terminated his contract completely. Allow that reality to truly register. This wasn't passive submission, wasn't quiet compliance with organizational demands. It represented pure rebellion, an unmovable boundary established. It reveals a fundamental crack in their relationship, an emotional threshold crossed for a fighter currently holding the interim heavyweight crown, supposedly one of combat sport's most prestigious positions. Consider the heavyweight landscape. It's traditionally celebrated as combat sport's absolute summit, home to the planet's most dangerous fighters, the division that captivates global audiences. Yet it's genuinely deteriorated into something that's honestly bizarre, lacking excitement, and frankly uninteresting anymore. This transcends Aspinall's injury and rehabilitation schedule. It's about profound systemic problems within the promotion itself, all crystallized by one man's principles and mounting desperation. The exposure of Aspinall's actual terms for vacating, his explicit demand for organizational release, sent tremendous shockwaves throughout the entire industry. We're navigating completely uncharted waters here. A heavyweight champion or interim title holder using his belt as leverage for complete freedom. That's revolutionary territory. But what drives this decision? What could possibly compel a fighter at his career's absolute pinnacle, someone who's reached the mountaintop, to gamble everything like this, to potentially abandon the sport's biggest stage, the platform every warrior dreams of reaching? The answer exists in invisible conflicts, battles waged far from the octagon's bright lights, away from cameras and cheering crowds. For years, fans and experts have endlessly debated the heavyweight division's condition. Legends like Daniel Cormier departed, creating enormous voids nobody seemed capable of filling. John Jones, arguably history's greatest fighter, a once-in-a-generation talent, appears ready for his final chapter, preparing to exit gracefully. The division, once promising gladiatorial giants, mythical larger-than-life personalities, has genuinely struggled for consistent, captivating storylines that maintain audience investment. Tom Aspinall represented the solution to all these problems, the explosive catalyst who would revitalize and energize a stagnant weight class. His meteoric ascension promised a return to golden eras, a fresh period of spectacular finishes and undisputed champions fans could genuinely rally behind. Yet even as the division desperately craves a reliable star, someone to inherit the legacy, the brutal realities of fight business emerge with ugly vengeance. The commercial aspect of fighting is completely merciless, endless calculations of risk versus reward, value against leverage. For Tom Aspinall, that calculation has obviously reached a pivotal crossroads, one saturated with personal sacrifice and deep injustice that transcends mere athletics. Everything was perfectly aligned for his dominance, for him to assume control and rule the heavyweight division for the foreseeable future. Instead, uncertainty's shadow looms ominously, not just over his career and upcoming battles, but over the entire division's future he was destined to rescue.
DC retired, DC was fun, like yeah, the division's just not that fun. I saw someone saying get rid of it or whatever, but it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before like just these stars start coming up. There's so many guys like me that are 265 that just barely, you know what I mean? Big fuckers. 6'6". It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be exciting times ahead. We're navigating through challenging circumstances, but what falls down will rebound off the ground like a trampoline, launching back up, so we're gonna get things moving again. But then he's unable to transport his children to school. He's got 3 kids, including 1 son. Someone then voices what countless fans feel internally. The heavyweight division simply isn't enjoyable anymore. It's a harsh, unforgiving confession for a sport built entirely on larger-than-life personalities and explosive entertainment. There's optimistic speculation that fresh stars will surface, that the division will recover, bouncing back like a trampoline, discovering renewed vitality. However, the discussion suddenly shifts to something infinitely more significant, hitting with devastating impact. This isn't merely about divisional health, championship belts, or pay-per-view revenues. It's about the crushing human toll everyone avoids discussing. We discover this absolutely devastating information. Tom Aspinall cannot drive his children to school. Process that reality for a moment. He's father to 3 children. 1 son has autism. This isn't simply an injury preventing him from competition. This is a man's existence completely destroyed. It's the immediate visceral effect on a father, a husband struggling to keep his family intact. This isn't a spreadsheet business decision. It's a family emergency happening in real time. The divisional problems suddenly seem completely meaningless, almost petty, against the context of a fighter's private suffering. His emotional statement isn't dismissible words for analysis. It's the silent desperation of someone whose career has directly jeopardized his ability to support his most vulnerable child. Imagine the emotional burden of that discovery, the overwhelming pressure, the gladiator, interim champion, the fighter everyone admires, reduced to someone unable to fulfill the most fundamental, treasured paternal responsibility of school transportation. For autistic children, routine is absolutely critical, everything they depend on. It's their entire world's foundation, providing comfort and predictability that helps them navigate daily existence. When that structure gets violently disrupted, when dad can't handle school runs anymore, the consequences can be absolutely devastating, not just for the child but for the entire family attempting to preserve normalcy. Tom Aspinall isn't just rehabilitating in some training facility, he's wrestling with the emotional aftermath of disrupting his son's essential stability, the guilt and anguish accompanying that reality. This introduces a completely new dimension to his breakdown. It's not just UFC frustration or career anger, it's deep primal terror of failing his family, of absence when they need him most. That fear is far more powerful, far more frightening than any octagon opponent he could face. Every decision now, every medical choice, every grueling rehabilitation session, every UFC conversation gets filtered through paternal responsibility. The pressure isn't just from fans demanding his return or promoters wanting fights. It's internal, constant warfare between his fighter identity and unwavering fatherly duties. This is the hidden reality behind all headlines and social media debates. The human sacrifice made pursuing glory and championship gold. The often invisible emotional collateral damage no championship can truly compensate for or remedy. It's a stark reminder that beneath the warrior facade, beneath muscles and fighting prowess, beats a father's heart who's vulnerable and fiercely protective of his family's schedule.
Routines, very important. It's all been taken away from him.
That's good. Yeah, he had double eye surgery, got fucking poked in that last fight.
I remember that. I didn't know it was both. I thought it was just one, but
dude, that's what's so scary about the sport and shit like that happens. It's like, I gotta get in the octagon. Like, I fought Song last fight. Song, I poked Henry's eyes were fucked up for a while. Like, dude, it's scary. You don't, it's this.
What really emphasizes the absolute necessity of schedules and routines is recognizing how everything has been stripped from his family. This isn't merely inconvenient or a manageable minor problem. It's completely devastating for a family managing autism's complexities, where every disruption triggers potential regression. Then the conversation harshly transitions to his physical suffering, and it's absolutely horrifying. Tom Aspinall required double eye surgery after getting poked in his previous fight. The casual, almost routine way this brutal reality gets mentioned actually highlights just how widespread and serious this issue is throughout the sport. This isn't merely an unfortunate, isolated incident. It's a recurring horror story for fighters across every division. The vivid recollection of Henry Cejudo's damaged eyes from eye pokes reinforces the long-term career-ending potential of such trauma. This isn't a brief setback where you rest a few weeks and return. It's a possible lifetime sentence of vision impairment, a daily reminder of this sport's inherent dangers. The sport's frightening nature isn't some theoretical concept for Tom Aspinall anymore. It's his daily existence, affecting his vision clarity, normal functioning, family provision, and fundamentally maintaining the routines his son absolutely requires for stability. This emotional and physical trauma represents the genuine cost of championship ownership, the price absent from contracts. MMA's physical savagery is thoroughly documented. Everyone witnesses the knockouts and bloodshed. However, the psychological damage from such injuries, especially to something as crucial as sight, gets completely underestimated by fans and organizations alike. For fighters, vision transcends simply seeing ahead. It encompasses reaction timing, distance calculation, peripheral threat detection. It's absolutely everything. Double-eye trauma doesn't just affect physical recovery schedules. It infiltrates mental space, planting doubt and fear seeds that are incredibly difficult overcoming. Every light flash, every vision blur becomes a terrifying reminder of past suffering and potential permanent loss if problems recur. Returning to sparring, the actual act of combat preparation, becomes an enormous psychological courage demonstration, or perhaps desperation depending on perspective. Can he trust his eyes functioning properly under stress? Can he trust opponents, training partners not accidentally or intentionally repeating the trauma? MMA's mental component often equals physical conditioning in importance, and fighters returning from severe vision-affecting injuries face a formidable mental opponent nobody else can observe. The emotional battle isn't loud or theatrical. It's the internal dialogue of someone weighing fighting passion against health concerns, career ambitions against family futures, deepest desires against terrifying permanent damage possibilities. It's a silent protest against life's fundamental unfairness.
I don't even know what to say. That sucks, man. Because he's a little bit older too. It's not like he's got like a ton of more years. He's dealing with this, and then so you got to get back to sparring. And then how do you still have the same, the same
mentality?
Mentality. That's tough. That's tough. I mean, they want him to vacate the belt, which I get. He said if they release him.
Now things become fascinating. Someone mentions the supplement Magic Mind. More importantly, the speaker begins questioning Tom Aspinall's age, emphasizing he's somewhat older too, not some 22-year-old rising prospect. This transcends merely physical injury recovery. It concerns a fighter's career window limitations, the harsh reality that time is diminishing. How do you maintain identical mentality after experiencing everything he's endured? This represents the essential psychological question everyone's pondering. Can someone after double eye surgery with complete family dependence return to octagon competition with identical ruthless hunger, the same fearless commitment that elevated him to championship level? This represents the invisible struggle every elite athlete confronts, yet nobody discusses it openly. Then the devastating blow lands with complete force. They want his belt vacation, which logically makes business sense from organizational perspective. But immediately, the shocking condition resurfaces, the game-changing element. He declared he'll comply if they release his contract. This isn't polite requesting or tactical negotiation. It's a demand, an immovable position. It's a fighter stripped of peak performance ability, yet retaining enormous leverage through belt ownership. The psychological anguish of title vacation gets exponentially compounded by explicit threats of contractual imprisonment, preventing him earning income elsewhere. This transcends leather and gold belt symbolism. It concerns control, freedom, and emotional battles for his future and family security. This segment reveals critical UFC power dynamic layers most fans never witness or comprehend. The implied vacation pressure combined with fighter release demands illustrates a relationship under extreme stress, possibly irreparable. What does organizational desire for interim champion resignation actually signify? It indicates clean slate preferences, favoring active, visible champions capable of fighting and promotion, but for Tom Aspinall, the belt isn't merely a waste accessory. It symbolizes hard-earned achievement, dominance testimony, everything he sacrificed. Relinquishing it, even temporarily, means conceding ground, losing hard-won identity pieces and life's work. The counter-demand for release represents ultimate negotiation losing moments, the nuclear alternative. It's Tom Aspinall essentially declaring, if you won't support recovery and respect my position, then release me to find organizations that will, find promotions that value me properly. This isn't just potentially transitioning to boxing or alternative MMA promotions, it's seeking independence, refusing dictation when career and family are literally threatened. The mental strength required for such positioning, knowing potential repercussions from notoriously powerful organizations like UFC, speaks volumes about emotional turmoil and conviction driving Tom Aspinall's choices. It's high-stakes gambling with his entire future, motivated by deep self-worth and fair treatment demands.
Gonna go box? Like who? I mean, do people have interest in seeing Tom versus like maybe Francis or something like that? But it's like, man, just you don't want to get on the UFC's bad side. Not that he is. I don't mean it sounds like they're going through it, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, he's made some comments. I seen on whatever he posts on that they don't give a shit about him and all that stuff.
Oh man, Tom Aspinall's release pursuit implications become immediately obvious, the potential boxing transition everyone begins speculating about. But the speaker quickly dismisses it as an easy route, questioning whether genuine interest would exist in Tom versus Francis Ngannou outside UFC's massive promotional apparatus. This highlights UFC's inherent brand power in undeniable ways. No fighter, regardless of talent or name recognition, wants UFC opposition. Starting warfare serves as testament to the promotion's absolute sport dominance. Then the authentic emotional speech emerges, the raw, unfiltered sentiment aligning perfectly with everything we've been developing. Tom Aspinall, through public commentary, reveals his genuine belief they don't care about him personally. This represents ultimate betrayal for athletes dedicating entire lives, bodies, family stability to beloved sports. It's not dismissible complaints, it's profound disrespect accusations, emotional outcries from champions feeling completely abandoned by organizations they've sacrificed for. This single statement exposes deep rifts, total trust loss, and genuine undervaluation despite all accomplishments. This is Tom Aspinall truly breaking down, not through rage fits or object throwing, but through quiet, damning system indictments he's fought desperately to conquer. Tom Aspinall's candid belief that UFC doesn't care about him personally represents this entire saga's emotional center, the story's beating heart. It strips away professional sports veneer, revealing raw human elements underneath. For any athlete, feeling employer appreciation, especially those for whom they bleed and sacrifice health, is absolutely fundamental to well-being. When trust shatters, when perception becomes that you're merely cogs in larger machines that will replace you when useless, emotional toll can be absolutely immense. This transcends money or contract language. It concerns recognition, respect, basic human desires for empathy and understanding. Tom Aspinall's comments represent public outcries, desperate pleas for understanding amidst challenging personal and professional crises tearing him apart. It raises fundamental questions about fighter welfare, binding contract clauses, and moral obligations of global sports empires, generating billions. His stance demanding release, then publicly articulating neglect feelings, isn't just dismissible emotional moments. It's strategic maneuvering, whether intentional or not. He's leveraging pain, family struggles, and championship status to force conversations, asserting agency in systems seemingly designed suppressing individual voices and maintaining control. The heavyweight division's future now hangs precariously in balance, not just because of eventually healing injuries, but because of champions' courageous emotional demands for dignity and respect. Tom Aspinall's story powerfully testifies to human spirit, battling not only cage opponents, but the very systems designed controlling his destiny and dictating his career and life terms.